Hey everybody, it's Steve Anderson. We're here in Plano, Texas today at one of the most prominent dental practices in the entire Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It's the office of Crown Council member Dr. Vicki Borowski, whose name is known all over town as one of the most prominent dentists and probably the most prominent female dentist in the area. So we're excited to meet Vicki and to go through her practice as this month's Crown Council Practice of the Month. Let's go take a look. Why don't you give everybody a little bit of background on 25 years in practice, and this is your third space.
It's my third space.
And you started from scratch.
Totally from scratch.
And tell us how you got started.
I found a space that another dentist was looking at that was already plumbed out but no equipment. And so the realtor kind of put us together, and I was young and naive and didn't know anything about business. And it was kind of interesting because, you know, he was a little older than me, had a few patients. So we're setting up the office, and, you know, I don't have any marketing, I don't have any plan for anything. And the phone rings like 2 days before my office opens, and this guy is calling and he says he wants to have some veneers done. And I thought it was a joke. I said, okay, who put you up to this? You know, what are you doing? Quit bugging me. Hung up on him. Well, he called back like 2 more times. Finally, on the 3rd time, I said, okay, who are you really? And he said his name, and then he said, I'm so-and-so's brother. And I went, oh, you really are a patient? I said, I'm so sorry. So that was my first patient.
So despite your efforts to run him off, he became a patient anyway.
He became a patient, he got his veneers done, and moved on from there.
So you stayed in that space for 3 years, and then built out your own space. So tell us about your second office and what that was like.
My second office was very contemporary. It had bright colors. It was an open bay kind of concept. So I had 3 operatories on one glass wall, and then I had 2 more private in the back. Over time, I built those out, and it was more of a general practice in the true sense of the word. I did everything, sort of jack of all trades. I saw a lot of kids. It was bright colors, purple, red, gray, black, blue, and the ceiling was like jigsaw pieces cut out and looked like a puzzle. And in fact, it was in dental economics.
Ah, very good.
And so it was a very bright space, but it was a very young space. And it worked when I first built it, but as I matured and became more focused on cosmetics and aesthetics and kind of started to learn what I liked, and as my patient base matured too, because as I got a little older, so did my patients, but also I got a little bit more credibility, so people who were a little bit more mature started coming in, and it wasn't really the right space for that type of individual.
Right.
So I decided I'd do a new office after 10 years, and that's when I built this one.
So you've done a great job of positioning yourself in Dallas-Fort Worth. When you started down that path, when you thought about what you wanted the public to think of the Vicki Borowski brand, because it is a brand,
right,
what did you want them to think? What was your goal?
Well, I wanted them to think contemporary still, but in a more classic sense. I wanted them to think that things were cutting edge, that I had that I did have credibility, that I took courses, that I was willing to stand on my continuing education, but also that I would only do the things I was good at, that I never wanted to overstep my boundaries. You know, I wasn't good at endo, so I don't do endo. Even if I were having a bad month, it would never occur to me to do a root canal.
Gotcha.
Same with wisdom teeth. I just don't take them out. You know, it's not my strength.
Right.
So I wanted people to understand that I truly believed in what I was good at, and I focused on that.
Tell us about your wall art, because it is absolutely gorgeous. So tell us the story behind these, and I'll kind of pan around and show them as you tell us about them.
Well, I got my inspiration, of course, from Bill Dorfman and Discus some time ago. And in my previous office, I did have some Discus photos that I loved, and they were awesome photos. But as I moved in here, once again, the credibility thing, I felt like I could only display my own personal dentistry.
Yeah.
And so when patients walk in the door and they say, "Are these your patients?" I can say, "Yes, they are." And almost every single one of them is willing to talk to you. One of them lives in England, so he's a little hard to reach.
There you go.
But it allowed me to say, this is who I am, this is what I can give you, and here's the photographic evidence.
So who takes the pictures?
I can't claim that I do that. I have a good friend who's a photographer who started off as a patient and has been gracious enough to continue to take my patient photographs as time has gone.
Tell us about your team, and when you have discussions with your team about what you want your patients, what kind of experience you want them to have, what are some things that you do as a team to make this an exceptional experience in an exceptional space?
Well, the one thing I want them to be always is warm and friendly and patient focused. And we've had some turnover because we have had people who didn't really feel that
Didn't feel warm and friendly.
They weren't warm and friendly enough.
Gotcha.
But I want a patient to come in here and not feel like they're getting the brush off. I want, even maybe they don't have the financial resources right this minute. If we can't get them qualified with one of the companies that does financing, they can still be a patient. Come in. Let me be your general dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 years down the road, you may be ready for it. So I want them to never diminish a person, to never make a person feel like that they're not welcome here. Welcome is the biggest thing, because the reality is every new patient that walks through the door, number one, they're expensive to get,
mm-hmm.
but you never know who they're going to know and what that 6 degrees of separation is going to be. So warmth is really important to me, and that we're willing to go the extra mile. We will do what it takes to make you a part of our practice within reason. I mean, it has to be legal, and we're not going to fudge insurance or anything like that. But we want you here, and if you don't feel wanted, you're going to go down the street, because there's a bunch of dentists in this area.
There are.
There's there's bunches. So we want you to feel welcomed. Once again, warm, and that we all have credibility. That everybody knows their job, and that they're all professionals at what they do. My dental assistants, my hygienists, the front desk people, they all have to be top-notch professional. I hold myself to a pretty high standard, and I hold them to the same standard. So that's what I really expect.
If you were gonna take an objective look at yourself and your practice and isolate a couple of critical success factors, some things that have been really instrumental in your success, in the last 25 years, what would be the first one or two things that come to your mind that have been helpful?
I think I have a vision, and I always have a plan, and it's always written down, and I can read it every day because it's right there.
I've been to that seminar. That's a good one.
So, but that really is so important, because if you don't revisit that on a regular basis, you lose your focus. So I can see where I want to be, and that has been really important to me. And I'm decisive. I can make a decision. And I think that has been important all the way across the board. The decision to go to dental school, the decision to start from scratch, even though I was 25 years old, and had no money. The decision to hire and fire. When it's right. Some of the best dental assistants I've ever had, I had a 30-minute working interview with, and she was with me for a long time, and patients still ask about her, but she got married and moved away. But I knew in that 30 minutes that she was going to be the one. And then whenever I second guess myself, and I'm like, oh, let's do a 3-week-long working interview, I should listen and say, okay, you know what, this person isn't right. I know it. And a lot of times I think, well, I have to wait for my team to tell me, because I'm not the only person here, and if they can all get along with her, then maybe I can make it fit, but the reality is probably not. So, because it comes from the top down, and if the top person isn't happy, and if the top person doesn't feel like it fits their plan, then it's just going to be a trickle down eventually. So I think decisiveness and a vision are
How do you communicate your vision to your team on an ongoing basis that keeps them excited and fired up about who you are, how you're positioned, and what you want to be in the hearts and minds of your patients?
I think one of the funnest things that has ever happened is the postcard thing that we did this year.
Yes.
that was great with them because it allowed you on the front side to, you know, give them a storyboard, and then on the back side, very specific things. And we have it in our refrigerator in our staff lounge, and it's there, and you can see it every time you open the door.
Excellent.
And I'll flip it over sometimes, and so we can see the fun side, and then sometimes we see the serious side.
Let's go take a look at that real quick.
Okay.
A picture's worth 1,000 hours of explanation. So
yep.
This was actually an exercise we did at the TOPS round table at the end of the year, and you put together a destination postcard, is what we call it, that has kind of a vision of where you're going, and so the team can kind of get a picture of the future.
Right here at eye level, we have our goals for the year. And we have had some staff turnover, so that's why we had drama-free zone and stable teams. And we have a financial goal for the year, which
Excellent.
we'd like to produce. And we have a staff trip coming up at the end of April, and we were going to go to Santa Fe. It's changed. We're going to go to Chicago now.
Excellent.
And we wanted to make sure we could take a day off in October for a spa day. So spa day's on there.
Very good.
And then we want to buy some new lasers. So
Excellent.
that's why we have this side. And then
backside has all the goals.
right.
Excellent.
So, I don't have my reading glasses on,
Perfect.
but it says, support each other, and this is my biggest thing. We want 6 rock stars, not 1 lead singer and 5 band members. So I want to have the Beatles, not Paul McCartney and Wings.
That's a great word picture. That's
So
great.
that was like my biggest thing. Is I
Yeah.
want everybody to be invested in everybody else. It's a team.
A true team, yeah.
So make every phone call count, talk to each patient, even new ones, as if they were your favorite patient. Use the tools that we have and use them each day. Keep them out on the counter. So, you know, don't put that diagonodent away, or don't put that intraoral camera away. Keep it out.
Keep it all,
If
so
it's,
use it.
You'll use it. And then, I can't read my last one.
Think creatively.
Right, outside the box. When we brainstorm, don't put down or diminish anybody's idea. Don't say, we've done that before, or I did that in this office and it didn't work. You know, all the ideas are very important. And so you never know from one idea what could spin off and make
To
a new
another.
idea. So,
Great. Well, thanks. So as we kind of wrap up here, 25 years into this, if you, knowing everything you know now, if someone were to come to you and say, what do you wish you would have known 25 years ago that would have been really helpful to you, that you wish somebody would have told you instead of having to learn it by trial and error, what would you tell them?
be willing to put yourself out there and market yourself. And don't listen to when other people tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that, it's inappropriate, we don't do that in dentistry, because that held me back for a very long time.
What everybody else thought.
What everybody else thought,
Yeah.
you know.
All those other dentists don't make very good patients, do they?
No.
So
just listen to your inner voice, and don't have self-doubt. Because in the beginning I was so young, I was only 25, and so I had a lot of, oh, so-and-so says this, or oh,
Yeah.
so-and-so says that. I think that would be the thing. Just go for it. Whatever works for you, you know it.
perfect. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.